2025 was the year of the Spinosaurus. There was a lot of Spinosaurus portrayals this year, ranging all the way from the most recent Jurassic World movie to a plethora of different figures and toys. And we're going to talk about as many of them as we possibly can. We want to look at 2025 as a whole and see if it truly was a successful year of the Spinosaurus. What I mean by that is, were the designs awesome? Were the designs impactful? And were their portrayals impactful? And then at the end of it, we will establish if this was a good year of the Spinosaurus. We will also be separating this into chapters. The first chapter will be about the movies, the next will be about shows and shorts, the third will be about the figures, and the fourth will be about games. So if you have a few different portrayals that you want to see above the rest, you can just kind of scroll down to those different chapters. Anyway, let's get right into the video, starting off with the movies. Obviously, the biggest movie of the year in terms of dinosaur media was Jurassic World Rebirth. So we do get a few Spinosauruses in this movie, and while at first I wasn't too crazy about their design, they certainly have grown on me, and really, I don't think they're too bad nowadays. Are they perfect? Heck no, they're not. As someone whose favorite dinosaur is Spinosaurus, I do love to see designs that are a little bit more true to what Spinosaurus was like in life through our current information, of course. And obviously, the rebirth versions do not capture that too well. Like, there were certainly some creative liberties taken here and there, but the really cool thing about their design that I do appreciate is that there are some elements of accuracy, some elements of Spinosaurus that is kind of like recently known, like the tail. They do have the basilisk-like tail with the tall, narrow spines. They also have like a really cool sort of yellow coloration that links up with the sail. I think that that was just a very cool design choice overall. And they do have some aspects that Spinosaurus did have in life, like the longer arms with the huge claws, an elongated snout, even though the snout shape is not too perfect. And once again, that sail. Of course, Spinosaurus is quite known for its sail. The colors are really not too bad either. It's got kind of like a base coloration of mostly brown, but with like a really cool, striking yellow coloration in the sail with some awesome patterns. And they are mostly portrayed being in the water, swimming around, which is pretty controversial to put it lightly. To put it lightly, not a lot of experts agree with that, and I don't agree with that either. The evidence doesn't really support that. Like, there's for some, there's this huge push that Spinosaurus was a diving predator. It would spend a lot of its time swimming in the water chasing down fish. That's pretty unlikely given what we know about the animal and its overall anatomy. And while I won't bore you too much about all of the details about that, one big reason why that's not too plausible is because of that sail. That sail does create a lot of drag, even if it is like above the surface of the water or underneath the water, that would probably cause the animal to tip over more so than it would be able to keep up. Rather, it's more likely that Spinosaurus spent its time on the shores or in shallow waters catching fish, kind of like a heron. And, obviously that's not the path that they took in Jurassic World Rebirth. They really wanted to emphasize the whole semi-aquatic idea of it. And to put a little cherry on top, they had it to have a little bit of a symbiotic relationship with the mosasaur, which was certainly interesting. It was a cool scene, though. It was great to see Spinosaurus on the big screen after all of these years, even though it is very different from its portrayal in Jurassic Park 3. And again, it did kind of like leave a lasting impact. That wasn't my favorite part of the movie. That goes to the T-Rex scene, but it was still a fun part of the movie. The second appearance was in Primitive War. Now, the Spinosaurus in Primitive War, they actually take the place of Caprasuchus from the original novel. In the original novel, there was a ton of Caprasuchuses that attacked a few Triceratops. And instead of the Caprasuchus, instead of a horde of Caprasuchus, you just have a few Spinosaurs right here. It was great to see them here. And I might add, this is probably like the most accurate on-screen like movie depiction of Spinosaurus that we have seen thus far. Aside from the fact that they are again diving and swimming around catching crocodiles and stuff like that, their model looks flawless. Like, they have all of the traits that you would expect from a modern day reconstruction of Spinosaurus. You got the sail, you got the huge claws, you got the snout shape, you got the long neck, you got the tail, you have the reduced legs, which is a little bit controversial as well. But we won't dive into that right now. But everything is here. We actually see one fight a Triceratops and completely demolish it, which is That was certainly not on my bingo card of 2025 to see a Spinosaurus fight a Triceratops and then, like, annihilate it like it did, but of course, that does make sense because in the original novel, some Caprisuchuses do take down a Triceratops, so this really does show how they took that role. It was really cool to see it, though, especially with such a nice design. Like, it's just pretty high up for me. I really like this one. If I was doing a tier list, this one would be ranked pretty high. So those are the movie appearances of Spinosaurus. Overall, the movie section, I think, was pretty successful. We had two pretty notable depictions right there that were kind of different in their own right. If I were to choose one, I would definitely choose the Primitive War one because that design is just everything to me. But from there, we will take a look at like the shows that happened this year that had Spinosaurus in them. The first one, of course, was Sobek from Walking with Dinosaurs 2025. This one is also near perfect in its design, applying practically everything that you would expect from a modern day depiction of Spinosaurus, except for the lips. Lips are actually extremely likely for Spinosaurids. In fact, they're more likely than they are not likely. And honestly, I don't think we'll be seeing any lips covering any of the depictions that we see in this video, unfortunately. But that aside, all of the proportions are here. You do have the aforementioned tail, you do have the sail, you have the crest set right in front of, its eyes, and the snout shape is very correct. The arms are very correct as well. It's great seeing some like Spinosaurus babies, and I loved this episode. Like if you guys have seen my reviews of this show and my review of this episode specifically, then you know that that this is probably my favorite episode in the whole show, and that's mainly how the Spinosaurus looked. Obviously, there were still some controversial things placed into this documentary, like the fact that it did actually dive to try to chase down some Onchopristis, which, like I said before, is not too terribly likely for something like Spinosaurus. But I digress. The design did look incredibly amazing, and I did love the way that the babies looked. Our next show appearance comes from Talon, which was done by Lunar Dragon Entertainment here on YouTube. There was a Spinosaurus antagonist known as Fury. She has this design right here. I quite like it. It's kind of like a mixture of like older 2010s-esque Spinosaurus portrayals and a little bit of like some more modern portrayals. Like the tail, for example, it looks a little bit more like a modern Spinosaurus tail, but then she also has all these spikes all over the place, which kind of makes it look like a sort of awesome bro type portrayal, I suppose. It is a stylized show, and this is the style that they have, and I like it. The blues are also really nice. She's got the long arms and of course the snout. She's a very fun portrayal, I think. And she obviously makes for a pretty terrifying antagonist. So that's about it for the shows. There will be like some short films and other shows that will be coming out next year or close to it at the very least, like the Mesozoic Life Spinosaurus, as well as the Surviving Earth Spinosaurus. I don't know about the Mesozoic Life Spinosaurus specifically, but the Surviving Earth Spinosaurus, we will be seeing that next year. Both of them, I think, will be absolutely amazing to see. Now, one area where we were completely saturated with Spinosaurus depictions was with the toys and the figures and stuff like that. As you can see, all of these guys are Jurassic World Rebirth style Spinosauruses because there was a little movie that came out this year called Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, I don't think that I have all of them. I tried my best to keep up with as many as I possibly could throughout the year, but sometimes I just forgot or I just didn't have the means to do it, but I got as many as I possibly could, and so we'll go ahead and talk about them right here. These aren't the only Spinosaurus figures. Once we get through these, there will be some extra ones that we will talk about, so be sure to stay ready for that. So here's the first one. This is probably the cheapest one. I did get this one from like a Dollar General, I believe. It's fairly simple. It's got a simple paint job and not a lot of articulation. Like the legs do move. You're able to dislocate the feet, quite important, as you probably know. The tail moves a little bit. Its head does not move, its neck does not move, and its mouth does not open. Its arms do move, but again, it's a fairly simple and relatively cheap figure. It's got a fairly simple paint job as well, a little bit of counter shading right here, some cool stripes up here. Yeah, that's a fairly good start to the Spinosaurus figure list. Next up is a little bit more complicated. It did show up in a set, and again, if you guys want these figures for yourself, they will be in the description. I'll try to have them all in the description. This one does, it's kind of like a little bit more of like a step up on the ladder. You have, again, a tail that moves a little bit, but you got some more color on the tail. You can really see the tall neural spines right there, which is really cool if you ask me.
The sail looks really good. It's got some patterns in it as well. What I really like about this figure is how the neck moves and how you can put it in a position like this, which is kind of similar to the sort of S position that you see in a lot of modern day Spinosaurus reconstructions. I think that's a pretty cool thing right there. The mouth also does open up like that, so you can, you got some rubber teeth going on right here. The arms do move, legs do move, of course, and it's got a little bit more of a paint job going on here. Like, you got more of a blend of these colors instead of like a harsh separation like on the last figure. And I really like a lot of the yellows that we see on here. So another really cool figure. And then, of course, there was the big one. There was the Thrasher and Crasher Spinosaurus. This one is actually really cool. I like the details on it. It's not too terribly detailed. I'm just going to stay hidden behind its sail, if that's all right with you guys. I like the details on it. It's not the most detailed figure in the world, but I do like it. I like how flexible its tail is. I think that's a fun little thing, even though you get these little sections in the tail, which is a little bit distracting, but of course that's all for a play feature. That being, if I... It's going in a circle. Yeah, that's why it's called the Thrasher and Crasher Spinosaurus, because of that little play feature right there. If you press this button on the sail, the more you press it, the more it'll do that sort of thing right there, and then it kind of slows down. The head shape, I think, looks really cool. Obviously, like I mentioned with its movie depiction, well, hello. Oh, yes, hi. Like I mentioned with the movie depiction, the skull shape is not perfect per se. Like, it's really jagged compared to the real-life animals, and it's really blocky towards the base of the snout. The tip of the snout gets a little bit closer, but it's still not like a perfect Spinosaurus skull portrayal. I do like this figure, though. I do like having it on my shelf. I think it's a very fun one to have. It is obviously one of the first ones that I got, one of the first Jurassic World Rebirth Spinosaurus figures I got, and I thought it was pretty fun. And Ahsoka likes it too. After that one, there's a few more figures. Oh, hi. Well, I don't know if this counts as a figure. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask. Okay, well, we'll make this work. There's a few more things. I don't know if we can consider this a figure, but it is certainly a toy. We do have this Spinosaurus mask right here for children. It also does roar. It has interlocking teeth and stuff like that. And instead of being portrayed as brown, like how the other figures kind of are, it's got more of like a gray coloration. It certainly is really interesting. I wasn't going to buy this one initially. But then as the year progressed, I was like, I should probably just try to get all of the different Spinosauruses as I possibly could. So yeah, that is a Spinosaurus mask right there that also qualifies for the Year of the Spinosaurus. After that, there was also this little interesting play set thing right here. I haven't taken this out of the box, and that's because it has there's like a tiny Spinosaurus right there that also kind of fits the build that we've been talking about that I didn't want to lose, so I just kind of kept it all together. It also comes with a mosasaur. It's just a Spinosaurus head, basically. I like the red around the eyes. I think that's a really fun, addition right there. And, yeah, it's another thing that counts for the Year of the Spinosaurus, I suppose. Lego also finally gave us an official, Lego Spinosaurus figure. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's got, longer legs and stuff like that. It's a little bit more like the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. The tail is... Whoops, wow, I hit my hat. The tail is a little bit like a paddle, but not too terribly much. It is still kind of like a classic theropod tail that we've seen before. I like the head mold. I think it looks pretty good. I think it's just the Baryonyx head mold, but I still think it looks pretty good on this. It's also got some red around the eye there too, which is pretty cool. And of course the jaw does open and close. Yes, the jaw is pushed all the way back on. When I recorded my first video talking about this minifigure or big fig, whatever, I didn't have the jaw all the way on, and I didn't notice that until after I had uploaded the video, so I clicked it back on, and then I got a lot of comments saying that I left that out, or I left it, it wasn't pressed all the way on. Anyway, yeah, this is the Lego, our first official Lego Spinosaurus figure. We have had a Spinosaurus figure in the past, but it was basically just the T-Rex figure with just an extra piece on its back to make it look like a Spinosaurus. This is our first official made-to-be Spinosaurus, and I like it. I think it's pretty nice. Wouldn't you agree? I agree with me. We'll move on from that. Funko Pop also gave us our first Funko Spinosaurus. It is a jumbo Funko thing. Here's what it looks like. Again, it still has like some of the whole idea of the rebirth Spinosaurus down to a T. The coloration is similar, though it is a little bit more gray on this fella instead of being more brown like how we've commonly been seeing. But it does have like the striping on the sail, and it has a little bit of a paddle-like tail right here, though it is kind of reduced. I like it. I don't usually buy Funko Pops. You know, the only other one that I bought recently was the Sharp Tooth, and that's just because I like the Sharp Tooth. I used to buy them all the time, but then I stopped in recent memory. But for the year of the Spinosaurus, I did make this exception right here, and it's cool. It's a cool little depiction. I quite like it. There was a plethora of Spinosaurus plushies that also released. This is the one that I got. It's fun. My daughter loves it, of course. It's got, you know, it's got the sail we've been talking about. It does have the tall neural spines back here, a reduced snout because it is a plushie. It's all cute and everything, and it has more of the gray coloration, which is similar to some of those other ones that we've been looking at, although it is a little bit tan now that I look at it more so in the light. Actually, it's more brown. I take back my previous statement. Plushy Spinosaurus, ladies and gentlemen. So those are all of the rebirth ones that I got. I know that there's like some other companies that made their own like rebirth style figures that you know, I wasn't able to get. A lot of them were more collector and had a, you know, they were a bit more pricey. I just wasn't able to get those ones, unfortunately, but there are some of those out there that do exist. These are all like the mainline ones, but that, like, the Rebirth Spinosaurus is not the only Spinosaurus that we got some depictions of in the figure world this year. You wait right there. Boom. Obviously, a big talking point this year was the Jurassic Park 3 Hammond Collection Spinosaurus. I love this thing so much. I was so happy when obviously there was a lot of issues with people trying to get it, myself included. It was selling out like almost immediately. The pre-orders sold out, which is always stupid. So it took me a while to finally get it, but you know, after a few months, a few weeks rather, I was able to get it. And I do love this thing. I know that there's some criticisms about how it's portrayed out there. A lot of those I think are more so nitpicks because I just think this is awesome. I love the shape of the skull. I love the colors. I love like how posable this thing is. Like the arms look really good. It's a great figure. Easily like one of my favorite things that I bought this year. And it's really something that helped emphasize the year of the Spinosaurus. It looks practically spot on to its on-screen appearance. One thing it is lacking is the sort of blue patterns that it had in its sail, but again, that is, to me, more so a minor thing. I love this. I really love how it turned out. I think that they did a very good job with it, and I would probably buy more if I needed to, which I don't really need to. But yeah, that's the Hammond Collection Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. And then, more recently, there is... I can't see you. A little bit more difficult to get into the camera, but there is the Super Colossal Spinosaurus. Obviously, you know, also based off of the Hammond Collection, the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus, with the colors and just the whole shape of it. You know, it certainly looks a lot more like an early 2000s Spinosaurus rather than like a more updated one. It also looks really good. If you guys saw my video, then you know that, of course, it has some play features. Like its belly opens up, and then there's like a little baby Nasutoceratops and another baby dinosaur, like a baby velociraptor, that you can feed it. Goes into here. It just goes into its mouth, and then very good. It's a fun one. I have nowhere to put it, so it's just been kind of like hanging around like at the base of my bookshelf. But it's pretty cool, you know. 2 Jurassic Park 3 Spinosauruses is certainly really fun, and they both look great. Obviously, I like the Hammond Collection one a bit more, but that's because it's meant to be a collector's item. So, of course, I'd probably like it a little bit more. Yeah. Cue the, oh my gosh. Cue the ringing phone. So, unless I'm forgetting anything, that should be all of the new figures and toys that were released this year, which has grown my collection quite a bit, because now I have quite a few Spinosaurus figures that I can add to the collection, essentially. I'm not gonna get them all down, but yeah, no, I have quite a few. I have the PNSO Spinosaurus. I have like a skull. I have the Mesozoic life, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that's the figure section of the year of the Spinosaurus.
Well, now we move on to the video games. Obviously, one of the biggest notable ones that happened this year was the fact that a TLC for the Path of Titans Spinosaurus was released. And basically, what they did was change up a lot of the proportions, just to tweak the model a bit to make it a little bit more accurate. The tail, for example, has its proper, shape, has its proper basilisk-esque tail. It's got more of a sail. They kind of like opted for the more squared depiction right here for Egypticus. The arms are, of course, huge and everything. The skull shape looks really good. The neck shape is also awesome. There's Paxillus as well that gives it more of a very interesting sort of like half D shape right here, I suppose. A smaller basilisk-like tail and a lot of the other traits that we mentioned. And Shanxius gives it like a huge basilisk-like tail. All three of them look pretty darn good, look pretty darn close to a real-life depiction of Spinosaurus. And I just simply love it. I love seeing it walk around. I love seeing its new animations. Like its new running animations are pretty fun. The way it kind of like ducks its head down a little bit as it's moving. It's very cool. Oh, crab! But the crab is our biggest weakness, don't you? Oh my gosh, it is right on me. It is right on me. That crab is right on me. That crab is, man, crabs. Crabs. Am I right? Crabs. Yeah. Yeah, crabs. Anyway, yeah, no, it's a very nice depiction. I think it captures the animal very well. The muscles look really good. I especially love how the arms, like how large those arms are. It's the crest also is very beautiful. The crest that it has on its head, love the shape of that. It looks very nice. Snout shape looks really good. Still a bummer that there's no lips, but you do have like nostrils on the side of the head, which is, if you didn't know, a lot of depictions they kind of put the nostrils on top of the head, like hippos or crocodiles, because they want to lean more so towards the semi-aquatic abilities of Spinosaurus, but it's likely the Spinosaurus was not too semi-aquatic, and its nostrils are placed on the side of its head like any other theropod, really. Very nice depiction. It's very, very nice. I love it. It's one of my favorite Spinosaurus depictions that we got this year, and I was just so happy to see it included. And then at the very beginning of the year, all the way back in January, Fossils and Archaeology released their new iteration of the mod that also had like an updated Spinosaurus model, a model that I am quite fond of. Enough build up, here it is. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's a very, very nice mod. It's probably one of my favorite like Minecraft dinosaur or Spinosaurus models out there. There's obviously some other really good ones too, but this one's really cool. Oh no, you killed that other dinosaur. Because hummingbirds are dinosaurs. In fact, every bird is. It's got everything that we have been yapping about for however long this video is. Long snout, huge arms, reduced legs, which is controversial, and the long basilisk-like tail. And of course, the sail is present. There is a male and female variant. It looks like we've got two females here. Another female right there. Another female right there. Another female right there. And a male. The male has more of like a red coloration in his crest. Oh no, don't get that other living dinosaur. But you notice they like swing their arms to attack, which is a fun little animation too. Yeah, there it goes. I love them. The babies also look really good. They have like they don't have a sail really. Their sail is not present. They look like how you'd expect a baby Spinosaurus to potentially look like, even though we're not really too familiar on what baby Spinosauruses would look like, but it looks how like they portrayed it in a way that makes sense. Don't you agree, Gorilla? Yeah, that's the Fossils and Archaeology Spinosaurus. It's one that kind of got the ball rolling for the year of the Spinosaurus. It was one of the first, so saving it for last, I think, is kind of fun because it's best for last in a way. It got the ball rolling, didn't you, buddy? Indeed. Yeah, that is the Fossils and Archaeology Spinosaurus. So there we have it. Those were some of the biggest depictions of Spinosaurus in 2025. Probably not everything. I tried to get as many things as I possibly could. Obviously, the bulk of that was through figures and other merchandise, and there were some other things out there that were Spinosaurus related that I did not manage to get, but they do exist out there. But overall, that kind of shows just how much this was truly the year of the Spinosaurus. And I didn't even mention that we got, of course, Jurassic World Evolution 3, that, of course, like the first two sequels, or the first two games rather, had Spinosaurus in it. They even have a baby Spinosaurus in it. Jurassic World, the game, even included some different versions of Spinosaurus in it, like the Rebirth version was added to the game. So there's just a lot of really cool things that happened. Obviously, Creative Beast Studios did announce that they are working on Spinosaurus 2. A lot of awesome things. So it kind of does look like this year is continuing into next year, because there are like a few things that I had as an honorable mention will be happening next year as well. I don't know if we're going to call next year the year of the Spinosaurus 2. I might look for another dinosaur to give that title to. But yeah, for now, it's looking like next year is also looking kind of like part 2 to this again, but I won't cover it like that. Or maybe I won't. We'll see. We'll see what I do. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have for this one. I do think it was a pretty successful year for the Spinosaurus. I think that we got some really cool depictions. Some of my favorite depictions happened this year. Like, I do really like the way that the walking with dinosaurs Spinosaurus looks. Obviously, I'm not too on board with some of the behaviors that were showcased in that, but it was still a fantastic portrayal nonetheless. And there's some things I like about the Rebirth Spinosauruses. I liked the Primitive War Spinosauruses, and a lot of awesome figures to add to the collection. But that's about all I have for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome year. All right, have a good one.